here we are, video 4, the final end. You noticed what was there, you named it, you have been learning to nurture it, and now it is actually time to move with it, to take everything you uncovered about yourself and apply it to real life, your real decisions, your real relationships, your real world. I can get my hair right, y'all, so bear with me because it's just not giving. That's what navigation is, applied action. It is the moment where the inner work stops being something you do in your journal and starts being something you actually embody in life. You live it. You know who she is now. The question is, are you ready to let her lead? Even now, after all this work, I still catch myself wanting to go back to what is the most familiar with me, what my nervous system was built on. Something recently came up about taking my business into public speaking, standing in front of people, and that is very scary. That scared me. I couldn't even envision myself doing that. Like, I had a whole conversation with myself about giving up and about going back to like comfortable and just staying a teacher, becoming a teacher, getting my actual license to just teach. And then I sat with that option for a little bit longer. And then I realized I would be so fucking miserable. I would be the most unhappiest. I would be so unsatisfied. I would become one of those people who spent their whole lives angry at themselves for not taking a chance when it was right in front of them. I've done all this work just to go back. We're not going backwards. So I made the decision. I'm doing it scared. I'm doing it afraid. I'm doing it not fully sure. I'm just going to do it anyways, because that's what navigation actually is. Moving forward as her, even when the old parts of you are screaming to retreat. First decision I made fully as her was saying no to my family. That was the hardest one. I became a caretaker like at an early age. I didn't have kids, but I raised people. I was everything to my siblings, everything to my parents, because I learned that being useful to everyone else was how I survived. That was my role. That was my identity for a long time. And it cost me years of happiness. I was an angry child. I was angry for years and I really didn't fully understand why. So my first real decision as her was drawing that line, saying no to something I genuinely did not want to do. And it felt wrong at first. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It felt uncomfortable. It felt like betrayal. But I asked myself, if I say yes to something I really want to say no to, how is that staying in alignment with who I am? How is that being aligned with all the work I've done for myself or on myself? I realized that it wasn't. So I said no. The boundaries I started holding weren't just about people. They were agreements I made with myself about my values, about how I wanted to be treated, about what I was and wasn't willing to accept in my relationships, friendships, and my family dynamics or family relationships. It didn't matter how much I loved you. I love me more. And that sentence changed everything. That is navigation. That is what it looks like to finally let yourself lead, to finally let your inner voice speak for you. To navigate means to take everything you learned, everything you noticed, everything you named, everything you nurtured, and apply it to your actual life. It is both internal and external work happening at the same time. It's saying no when no is the truth. It is saying yes when yes is aligned. It's removing yourself from spaces that no longer fit who you are becoming. It is holding boundaries, not just with people, but with yourself. It is taking time for you. It is taking time for you even when everything around you is demanding otherwise. It's having the discipline to show up for who you're becoming, even when the old version of you is still more familiar. It's holding yourself accountable when you slip back without shame, but still being honest with who you are. Because navigating isn't just about moving through the world differently. It is about navigating yourself, your patterns, your responses, your choices, your relationship with yourself. Navigation is a daily decision to choose you over comfort, over fear, over old programming. Navigation is doing it scared. It's doing it unsure. It is doing it anyways. It's not just doing better, because doing better can still be performance. You can do better and still completely be disconnected from yourself. You can grow and still be growing in the wrong direction from who you actually are. Navigated is specific to identity because it asks you different questions. Not how do I improve, but who am I? And am I actually moving like her? It's about reconnecting who you were before the world taught you who to become, and then learning how to move through that world with a more calmer, better perspective or understanding of yourself. It is not stringy, it is not performing, it's not surviving. It is you just moving as you, moving forward as you, as herself, as yourself, as myself. Navigation isn't about having it all figured out. It's about choosing her anyways, even when you're still figuring it out. The inner work is one thing, living it is another. The world around you did not change just because you did. The same people are still doing the same shit in the same environments, in the same dynamic that were built around the old version of you. And the old patterns feel familiar when they no longer fit, because familiar is safe, even when safe is slowly suffocating you. The people in your life knew you as a warrior. They knew you as someone who's going to always be there, always show up, always be a shoulder to cry on. The girl that knew how to say yes, the one who held everything together and never asked for anything in return. And when you start showing up differently, with boundaries, with limits, with a no that actually means no and not a yes, but you really mean no, you will lose people. Some of them will hate you for choosing yourself. Some of them will say you're acting different. Some of them will make you feel like you're being selfish for finally choosing you. That's where the hard part comes in when it comes to navigation, because it'll literally be them versus who you're becoming. You love these people, yes. We love our families, we love our friendships, we love the people that we are with. But do you love you more? And that will always be the question. That question will always come up. Sometimes they won't understand, and that is okay. Sometimes they will, and that is also okay and amazing. But the question you have to keep asking yourself is, am I making this decision for them or for me? Navigation from identity looks like pausing before you respond. It looks like checking in with yourself before you commit or you comment. It looks like tolerating the discomfort of disappointing someone rather than abandoning yourself to keep the peace. Navigation from survival looks like shrinking automatically, saying yes before you've even thought about it, avoiding the hard conversation because the fallout feels too heavy, too risky. The difference is awareness, and you have that now. You can't unknow what you know. The cost of going back, even after you know better, is something you've already felt. The anger that comes from betraying yourself, the resentment that builds when you say yes and you really mean no. The version of yourself you delay, meaning every time you choose comfort over alignment. You know what it costs, and that's why you're not going back. The navigated practice is simple. It's called the alignment check. Anytime you're about to respond, decide, react, commit, retreat, take a minute and pause, and you ask yourself one question. Is this coming from you, the you that you are meeting, the aligned you, or from who you used to have to be? That's it. That's all. That one question is the whole practice. Remember, the pause is the practice. If the answer is you, move forward, even if it's scary, even if it's uncomfortable, even if nobody around you understands it yet. If the answer is who you used to be, take a minute, sit in it. Don't react, don't commit. Give yourself the space to find the response that actually is aligned with who you are. You'll know the difference. When you're leading from identity, it might feel unfamiliar, but it feels real. It feels honest. There is this certain level of solitude underneath it, even if there is also fear. When you're leading from old programming, it feels urgent. it feels like you don't have a choice. It feels like you have to decide right now or something bad will happen. That urgency is the signal. Slow down when you feel it. And when you catch yourself slipping back, because sometimes we will, we're a human, you do not shame yourself back into alignment. You just notice, you name, you come back. That's the whole method working exactly the way it's supposed to. If you want to go deeper with this practice, my navigated guide will walk you through the alignment check in full with prompts, exercises to help you apply it to every area of your life. It's on my Gumroad account. Link is in the description down below. But to end this, you started this series by learning to see yourself. You noticed what was there, the patterns, the roles, the gaps between who you actually are and who you learned to be. You named it. You gave it language. You gave language to what you were carrying, what you've been mislabeling, what had been running your life unnamed. You nurtured it. You put the armor down and learned that the warrior deserves rest too, that the woman underneath her deserves to be tended to as well. And now you are here navigating, moving through your life as her. That is not something that is little. That is not something that is small. That is everything. Becoming Herrss was never about becoming someone new. It was always about coming back to who you were before survival taught you to strength, before loss taught you to perform, before the world convinced you that who you are without the armor wasn't enough. Remember, she was always enough. She was always there. And now you know how to find her, how to name her, how to care for her, how to move as her. Even on the hard days, even when the old version comes knocking, even when you're doing it scared. That is what it means to become Herrss. Not perfect, not some finished, polished, shinier version. I don't want to say shinier, but better version. Not without fear, just fully unapologetically her. So if you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and tune in to next month's video. Which would probably be next week. I don't know what this is. I gotta see what day is coming out. But also, if you want to use the 4M method and not have it tailored to self-identity, I released a new guide, and it's just the 4M method, and it works for any area, life, relationship, self-identity, anything. It is also on my Gumroad account, and I will put that in the description below. But make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and tune into next week's video or next month's video. Ciao.